All right, time once again for Catching Up with Tommy Mac podcast here on 1010XL's podcast platform at 1010XL.com. And, of course, you can check us out on their app, their live app. Always catch us there. All the archived information, all the archived shows that are being taken place right here in the 1010XL studios. Of course, my show brought to you by The Carpet Man. Get your carpet, get your flooring, get your luxury vinyl planking from The Carpet Man. All high quality. It costs. It cannot be beat. Make sure you're checking them out. Of course, the Southern Grill. Say it all the time. Great food, great spot. If you're downtown on the South Bank, go check out the Southern Grill right there on Flagler Avenue. All right. Real quick public service announcement. Next Friday night, the Dad Bods take the stage over Whiskey Jack's on Atlantic Boulevard in Atlantic Beach. Come join us. Yes, the draft will be on. Yes, we will announce the pick. Yes, we'll do it all. We'll celebrate the pick and hopefully maybe more than one in the second round. You never know with three fourth rounders, right? And two six rounders, 3 4th rounders, something like that. There's some ammo there to move up. All right, we're getting into the draft, of course. But before we do, I'm going to talk real quick on a boxing match that I hope I get to see, because my second favorite sport other than football is probably fighting, to watch, not to fight in the stream, like boxing, MMA, that kind of stuff. I don't order pay-per-view hardly ever, but I'm going to go try to find this Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia fight. Ryan Garcia, in unbelievable hands. Some say he's got the quickest hands in all of boxing. He's a pretty boy, but he's got knockout power. Now, this Gervonta Davis, he's a former champ. And all I'm going to say is this. He's 28-0 with 26 knockouts. Ryan Garcia is 23-0 with 9 knockouts. I'm going with the 26. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Two little dudes. It's funny when you see little guys go at it in the ring, they look huge. And then you'll be out in the street, you're like, damn, that guy's really little. Like, man, he's tough as nails. They're trying to kill each other. I watched earlier today, on the and good morning, afternoon, Graham Marsh, my esteemed producer.
Hello, sir.
Graham.
How are you?
The mustache is staying.
It is.
All right, good for you.
It's here to stay for the foreseeable future.
I like it. I was going to say, what was I going to say? Oh, the Gotti and Mickey Ward fight came up. One of their rounds in one of their fights on the reels. You know how the algorithms get you to watch?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Keep getting you to watch stuff. So I always see some kind of boxing match. I see lions eating, and I see crocodiles eating. Basically, that's my algorithms. That's what pops up in my reels. Not much else. So what else do you need? Animals eating things and people fighting.
Are they eating other animals?
Oh, yeah.
Like when they hunt somebody down and chow down?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I love watching that.
No,
and
those are cool.
The ones I don't like is when the lion or the cheetah's getting a little drink by the little pool of water and the big-ass crocodile grabs them by the head. That makes me a little eerie. By the way, we were in Mount Dora last weekend. Remember, we went down there for my anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
My wife and I. Really cool town. It felt like this little sleepy town. It could be anywhere. I didn't even feel like I was in Florida. It could have been anywhere. It could have been in Iowa for all I knew. It was pretty cool town. Right on Lake Dora. Now, I'll tell you, it's part of their culture, I guess, or whatever down there, but there's gators everywhere. I mean, massive, gigantic gators. We were on they got this boardwalk. You can walk and you're over the lake and you're like 10 feet above the water. Sunday morning, like, hey, we went, my wife, I'm going to sidebar. My wife thought it was really cool that the gosh, I'm such an idiot. The little rats that run over, the squirrels down there, you can feed them peanuts. We saw some old guy feed them peanuts. She's like, I got to get peanuts. I got to feed the squirrels. So I'm like, all right, we'll feed them back up by the bed and breakfast. Well, guess what? The squirrels by the bed and breakfast don't eat the peanuts. They don't even come anywhere near you. You go down by the water, they come right up to you. It's unbelievable. It almost felt like Snow White with all the animals coming up, and you could film them. Anyway, we go after we're done. I'm like, let's take one final look. Let's see if we see any gator. Graham, I'm not kidding. This gator, we're right above it. Its head was this big, and the bank to the side of the where the land was like 20 feet, and people are all over the place. I'm like, you guys are crazy, man. But it's part of their culture. It's just eerie. It's a little eerie. They got signs. Watch out for snakes and gators. I'm like, And you live here? Like, I'd be packing just for the Gators.
Hang out, walk the dog.
Yeah, right.
Go for a stroll.
And by the way, people are walking their dogs on the boardwalk. I'm like, what are you, like, throwing a blood in the water? You know, getting in the lion's den? What's wrong with you? I think I'll be gone in a second. But anyway, really cool town. Aside from, just stay out of the lake. I did. But a really, really cool place. All right, the reason I brought up culture is why? Because that's all we're hearing here locally. Culture is everything. Fit the culture. 127 guys, prospects, draft prospects, fit the culture on and off the field for Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson and company. What's that?
Nice transition.
Yeah, you like that?
That was good.
Thank you. Yeah, it was kind of like a segue, if you will. 127 draftable prospects right now for the Jacksonville Jaguars, which that fit the culture. Look, I tell you, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. The fact that Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke and the entire organization changed the culture in 1 year is absolutely phenomenal. Keeping that locker room, think about it. Most new coaches, new GMs, they come in, what do? They weed out the ones they don't want. Get them out of here. Get them out of here. The turnover between year one and year two typically is pretty big when you're talking about a team being taken over by a new coach, right? The turnover is pretty big. Not this team. They got 21 out of 22 starters back. They got the whole locker room back for the most part. That's what they want. They want guys that fit the culture. I tell you that all the time, Graham, don't I? It's not just a talent. It's a talent that fits the culture. It's a talent that fits the coach's philosophy. That's when you got a match. And that's when you hit it big.
And culture can be kind of a BS buzzword if you let it. I think characters are kind of a BS word, but culture, no, you got to have that. You got to have some good culture in there. When you actually have it.
Yeah.
Is what I feel like a lot of teams don't actually have it. They've just won some games.
Right.
I think in 2017, for example.
Yep.
That team was really good. I don't know if that team ever truthfully had great culture.
They had an individual culture. They all wanted their own, stardom and money and all their recognition and all that.
And you could tell because the next year, the minute some adversity hit, finger pointing started.
Oh, yeah.
This team this past year, they faced a ton of adversity.
Yeah, especially early.
And overcame it.
Yep.
That's culture. I don't think you truthfully know the kind of culture a team has until they see adversity, punch it in the face, and keep moving. Putting the team first.
Yes. Putting the team first. And, it's funny. Dempsey and I were talking, and Tony, of course, and he on Jaguars today, and he's like, you look at Coughlin's culture and you compare it to Peterson's culture. It's like night and day. I said, yeah, but the culture Tom built, he built it with guys that were good with that culture. Like, we fit the culture. I perfectly fit Tom Coughlin. Yell at me all you want. I want to be a great player. I want to do the extra stuff. I want to put in the time. I want to get paid. I want to win games. I want all of it. I want the whole thing, right? So you don't have to motivate me.
There's not a good or bad way to do it as long as there's buy-in.
As long as there's buy-in and you got the guys that fit your culture. And the culture, as you mentioned, is you stick together. Good times, bad times, we're together. We're a team. Nobody's above the team. We didn't have that either. Although some guys got superstar, treatment, which was fine because they were superstars. But there wasn't. No, it was team first with Coughlin's, team first with Doug Peterson. Any successful organization is going to have a bunch of guys. Yeah, look, what's the message? Hey, get all you can. Get all the money you can, all the accolades you can, all the Pro Bowls you can, all the All-Pro honors, everything. Get as much as you can individually. But none of that comes before the success of the team. You get guys to believe in that, now you got someone. I think that's part of the culture with Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke. So I see what you're saying, like, oh, culture, like, but you know what? It is very important. And I'm not just talking business. I'm talking at home. I'm talking business. I'm talking sports. All the same, man. Business is sports is life. All right. So they also said, Trent said they got 2 to 4 guys that they are very comfortable drafting with at the 24th spot that they think could potentially be there. So what did he do? He lit a match. Now everybody and their mother is going to be like, I know who they are. Let's guess. And we're all guessing.
Right.
I'll tell you, for me, and he also talked about value and need. They got to come together, right? So what does that mean? We've got our rankings, who the best player on the board is, but we also have our needs. They can't be far apart. They got to be close together. Right? So if I got a guy higher than the guy that I need, right? Say I got a corner that I don't need I've already grabbed a corner. And I'm not just talking round number 1. I'm talking to the whole thing, right? I've got a position, and then I've got another guy that I need. I need a tackle. And their value is about the same. Maybe not exact the same, but pretty darn close. That's when you say, okay, I'm going to take the tackle. And right? Because the value is pretty similar, but I need that tackle more than I need the corner. Throw in a different position. I don't care. Or 2 different positions, but whatever that is, that's when it matches. So for me, need and value meet at Branch. I mean, to me, he's Brian Branch. That's that guy, the safety / nickel from Bam. I think if he's there, and that's the thing, you don't know. I mean, you're seeing it's all over the place. Would I like Darnell Wright on my team? Yeah, I would. I think he's a badass right tackle. They say he's the cleanest tackle prospect in the entire draft. He's mean. He's nasty. He gets at perfect right tackle. Would I love him to be there? Yeah. Would I take him? I might, even over Branch at that point. But I don't think he's going to be there. And Branch may not be there either. But for me, if he's there and the value is going to meet the need perfectly, because what do? Slot guy right away. Boom, he's my third guy in. He may end up being one of my safeties. I don't know eventually, but to start off, he's a number 1. He's an opening day starter right away. After that, I think Osiris, he's the next one. And you heard what they said about Barch. They don't know about Ben right now. Is he going to be back, start a camp? That doesn't mean they don't like him or they don't need him or they don't want him. They just don't know. So, yeah, you might want to go with that. So Torrance would be the second one that meets. And I got a dark horse. But I want to hear your 2 first, Graham Marsh. Who would if you 2 to 4 guys, give me your top 2 guys at 24, if they're there, that you're selecting for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Can I give you 3?
No
order.
Yeah, you can.
No particular order out of these 3.
Hit me.
Or do you want me to rank them?
I don't care.
Okay.
Do whatever you want.
Osiris Torrance.
Yep.
Brian Branch.
Yep.
Darnell Wright.
The tackle
from Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then I was talking about it. Yeah.
I want some tackle depth because I
think he's there.
I don't
wish he was there. You know.
I don't disagree with you. I think between those 3, though, I think at least one will be there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm kind of adding to the pool and, playing my odds there a little bit.
Yep.
I just think kind of looking at everything and looking at the current makeup of the roster.
Yep.
I have a really hard time believing Cam Robinson is a Jaguar a year from today.
No, I know. Well, here's the thing. It's interesting. So you look at do we need a pass rusher? Well, we grabbed Trayvon Walker. We got Josh Allen. But here's the question: how long is Josh Allen going to be here? What if he doesn't have a badass year? Are you going to keep him? And are you going to be able to sign him long?
Fair.
You know what I mean? So but then go to tackles, same kind of deal. Yeah, we got Cam, we got Walker, but how long we got Cam? I don't know. Maybe we have him for a long time, but we might not have him for a long time based on injury and based on what's left. I think after this year, there's no dead money on the contract.
Correct. And
right. So I think that might factor in. Now, if he has a great year, sorry to cut you off, great year like he was having before he got hurt. No, you're gonna try to maybe add a year or whatever. You're gonna keep him around. But again, that's the unknown. Same with Josh Allen. Same with Cam Robinson. Different. Josh, we just want to see more production. Cam, we want to see stay healthy and keep that high level of production. But kind of the same thing. Okay, maybe not this year, but we need him for next year.
Yeah.
Then you think of the kid from Clemson, the defensive end / stand-up.
Murphy,
yeah, Miles Murphy. That could be a guy that's there. I keep seeing that kid from Iowa, Van Ness, but I think he's going to be gone. That's a great. I think this year. I mean, I think for us, come on, we picked first last 2 years. Exciting, but awful at the same time. And now you're sitting there at 24, and you're like, man, anything can happen.
Yeah.
You look at these quarterbacks. I tell you, one of the caveats is that Hendon Hooker. Someone's going to try to trade up for him. I think someone's going to. After they get past the 4, there may be a little bit of a lull because tackles will go, corners are going to start going. You know what I mean? Once they get through the 4 QBs and maybe the top rushers, a kid from Texas Tech, Will Anderson, of course, from Bam, you know what I mean? Then I think it's anybody's ball game. And then let's see where the stocking starts. I equate the run-ons to stockings. They keep going, they keep ripping, It's kind of like that. So will the tackles go off on a run? Will the corners go off on a run? Will the 3 wide receivers that you would possibly take in the first round, the kid out of Ohio State, Quentin Johnson, Zay Flowers from BC. I'll tell you this about Zay Flowers, and I don't know the kid that well, and I know he's Boston College, so I'm biased, but he would fit the culture. He would fit the culture. Now, how you use him, well, maybe it's just a luxury pick. I just think if there's even Quentin Johnson. Now, Quentin Johnson may not be the full, rounded wide receiver you want, but I think he could fit a nice need for us. That's another thing with Calvin Ridley. What happens with Calvin after a year? We hope the best. His great year, they get to extend him. He stays for the rest of his career. But we don't know that. That's another unknown. Now, granted, you've got Kirk, you've got Zay Jones, you've got Ingram, which we'll get to in a minute.
Jamal Agnew.
You got Jamal Agnew, right? So you got ETN out of the backfield. You got some players there that can help. So I'm not as worried there as opposed to tackle and the rush end. But you got to start thinking about that. Look, if Joey Porter Jr.'s there, I'd probably go corner. I mean, you got to imagine that. I don't know this for a fact because, they say Darius Williams better outside than inside. But anybody they draft, they're still going to have to beat out Darius Williams. The fallback is they're your nickel, right? I mean, that's got to be the plan. If you draft a corner in the first round, he's either replacing Darius Williams as the starter on the outside or he's going to be my starting nickel.
The loser of the outside corner battle is my starting nickel.
Is my starting nickel, and it better be.
It has to be.
It better be. Your top 3 DBs cover the 3. Fair? So we'll see what happens there. But I don't know. That Quentin Johnson does impress me with his size and speed, and that could. Although you got Ridley, I get it. I don't know if I'm taking over Branch. I think to me, Branch just solidifies.
Yeah,
it makes everybody better up front. Are you going to add to that? Yeah, you're still going to add to that. The pass rush, and I posed a question too. What if Trayvon Walker had a year like what's his name, Hutchinson up in Detroit? Would we be sitting here saying we need pass rush? I mean, I know we lost Smoot to injury. We lost Arden Key, but that's 4.5. Arden had 4.5 sacks. That's not like he was good. I liked him. I like Arden Key. I think he's a good player. I think he's going to have a great year with. I think he's going to have great, however many years with Tennessee. I think he'll be used a lot more, maybe a little bit different. But I think if Trayvon Walker had bigger numbers, had more presence in the backfield, and getting the quarterback on the ground and hits and all that, we wouldn't be talking about pass rush. So maybe inside the building, they're like, this kid's on the verge. Maybe. But again, what do we do with Josh Allen? Is he part of our future?
If 41 had a more productive year, same thing.
Well, if he had a more productive year, you might have already extended him. You know what I mean?
100%.
I mean, and rightfully so. And I'm sorry, Josh, but you got to be more consistent. You have to. He obviously clearly has the potential to take over a game. We've seen it. Even in down years, right? Go back to the Bills game when we beat the Bills. What was it, 9-0, 9-6, something like that? He had a monster game, and then he would disappear, and then he'd come back. And then,
he had 3 sacks and an interception.
Right. I mean,
just going crazy.
Right. Against the Bills, we thought they were going to kill us like 50-0.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. If he had more production, you probably would. You'd want him around, and I think they like him. I'm not saying they don't, and we like him here on catching up, but we need to see more.
The thing about Josh Allen is his game is just too, the spurts aren't long enough.
No, right. Glimpses, too many glimpses.
Yeah, it's like he has 3 sacks in a game, and you're like, oh my God, this guy's phenomenal. Yep. I love this dude so much. And then you don't hear from him for 6 weeks.
Yep.
And it's like every game is not going to be a 3-sack game.
No.
But after the 3-sack game, can you give me a half a sack the next week?
Right, and hits.
Yes.
If you're not sacking them, hit them.
Can you bat a ball down?
Right.
Can you do something
pick up a fumble and score the winning touchdown?
Yeah,
to get you into the playoffs. Can you do that a few more times?
Can the PA announcer have a reason to say your name more than once throughout the whole game?
Right.
So,
all right. What about if Branch is there and then? I don't know. Would you take Who are you going to? Lucas Van Ness. Who would you take?
Out of those two?
Yeah.
Van Ness.
You would?
Yeah.
Just because of the pass rush.
They got to get
Where
that
are you
damn
gonna play
quarterback.
him, though? I keep going back to, like, you drafted Trayvon Walker to be your 3-4 outside backer. I know you need guys off the bench in the rotation. I get that. But do you spend a first-round pick on that? Again, you may because of just the scenario we're talking about. What happens with Josh Allen? So,
this is more about like me personally having faith that, or lack of having faith that Trayvon is going to figure it out soon. Not
to go cliche, proof's in the pudding. He hasn't shown much proof.
Correct. And that's why I would take another edge guy.
Yeah.
Because I just have a hard time believing that with last year, basically him having nothing except the bull rush.
He's not a natural pass
Right.
rush.
So I just have a hard time believing he's just going to figure it out, and just have all these moves and know what to do. So I'm if I'm drafting a Van Ness type of guy and the value's there, it's almost a little bit of an insurance policy.
Yeah.
As opposed to extra rotation.
I think if any pass rusher for that matter, but if I'm Trayvon Walker, I'm taking either some kind of hand-to-hand combat, I'm taking some boxing, I'm working on my hands. I'm working on the speed, I'm working on the way you can hit, the power from short distances, knocking hands. I mean, to me.
Didn't they worked with I think Robert Mathis last year, didn't they, in the offseason?
Yeah.
Call him up again. Yeah. Move in with him.
Yeah. My brother just met him. He was doing a camp up in Indianapolis. He's a really cool guy.
I've heard,
cool dude.
I've heard that he's like a phenomenal human
That's
being.
Awesome, man. I love hearing that.
But Trayvon, FaceTime that guy 3 times a day learn something new.
Yeah, well,
that dude was one of the best.
What do you
ever.
need? You need a quick first step. You need natural bend, and you need a counter move, and you need to be able to use your hands really good. That's for sure, without wasting any forward movement. But that'll be, And then look at tight end. Like, you don't know the future with Ingram. So what if the tight end's there? What if Mayer's there? I didn't watch a lot of Notre Dame football. I'm not a big Notre Dame guy, of course, going to Boston College. If he's our pick, he's our Jaguar. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know. I look at tight end. I'm like, look, Ingram's the guy. Like, are you taking targets off of him to throw it to your other tight end? I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because you got other guys. You got Kirk still. You got Jones. You got Ridley. Do you need another? I don't know. I still think Dan Arnold could fit what you need out of a second tight end.
I agree.
Do. I don't think you need to spend it on a first rounder.
I also think between the difference with Ingram, the difference at tight end as opposed to tackle or edge, is I think with Josh Allen and Cam Robinson, I don't think we know if the plan is to extend them.
Yeah.
In fact, I think the plan currently may not be to extend them. With Ingram, I think we all agree that we want to get Ingram on like a 4-year deal, if possible.
Yeah, they do.
I think the franchise tag was just buying time.
Oh, yeah.
I think everybody wants to extend Ingram and have him here.
Something's holding it up. Something, obviously, because they haven't got it done. Now, maybe they're just like, hey, let's just wait till after the draft. We got to focus on the draft. Yeah. And then we'll get back to you. That could be the case. But obviously, clearly, something's amiss because they haven't found some common ground.
What kind of statement would that be if the Jaguars did take a tight end in the first round?
Well, they're adding an insurance policy to their tight end position, I guess. You know what I mean? I don't know. It'll be it's going to be great. I tell you what. I mean, you're talking. You even look around the league, Graham. Just like trades, like who's going to be moved. I mean, think about like if you could take Butta Baker, right? You take him and package him to some team, then you want a draft. I know you're already at number 3 for Arizona. Maybe that's not a great example, but just guys like that you would be like, oh, well, I want to move up. I got to move up. Let's give him a perennial player like D-Hop. Wouldn't you use D-Hop in a trade to move up if you had to?
Oh, hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like who I wonder who that and not that it's going to matter. I don't think this year's draft, but does the trade happen for Rodgers? I think Baltimore's going to be very interesting. Is Lamar going back? I hope he goes back. I do. I hope he can.
I think he will
find some happiness and go back and finish what he started there.
Just speaking of trades, you mentioned this already in this podcast, and then our good friend Hayes Carline made this comment the other day as well. I think for the Jaguars specifically at 24,
Yep.
I think we should all keep our eye on Hendon Hooker.
Yeah.
Because there's a good chance that all the other quarterbacks will be taken.
Yep.
And he's kind of that one guy where I don't think anyone really has him with those first four, but I think everybody kind of considers him better than everybody else.
Yep. He's 5 alone.
Right.
Yep.
So
I agree with that.
If the Jaguars are sitting nice and pretty at 24 and somebody's at 27, 28, or somebody at the top of the first round really wants Hooker, the Jaguars could maybe really steal some value right there. If you can swap picks there with somebody,
totally.
You could really get value there.
He's got to get past Tampa. I think Tampa may, because all they got is Baker, then Trask, right?
Oh, yeah, Killer Kyle.
You know what I mean? So they may be in the running for
that's true.
That young man. Did you see the report on the S2 study? Have you heard of this S2 thing?
Yes.
So the S2, I don't know totally, but it's a reactionary type test. It's not the Wonderlic where you're writing, you're answering questions, that type of thing. It's more of a reactionary test. And supposedly they've been using it in the NFL. They've been using it in the NBA, in baseball for 20 years. Reaction of a bat, they were trying to explain it to me. Like, you got to pick out, there's 6 things. Pick out which one's different. How quick can you do that? How quick can you process? So the thing in quarterbacks especially, how quick can you process, right? So they have scores. Bryce Young had a 98, I believe. He was unbelievable. Brock Purdy last year had a 99. Okay, so just throw that in there. Burrow was the highest at one time at 97, and then it just trickles down. Will Levis was a 93. The kid from who's the kid they're talking about? Is he from Fresno? I don't know. Some quarterback's going to go later in the round.
Clayton Tune.
Yeah, Clayton Tune. He was like high 80s. Richardson was a 78. Hooker was in the 40s, and Stroud was an 18. Now, supposedly, from what we talked about on the radio, and that was coming out about the S2, anybody that graded 80's the cutoff, good and bad. Anything above 80's good. Anything below 80's bad. I'm sure if you're close, it doesn't really matter. The consensus is anybody that graded higher than an 80 in years past. They've been using it for the past 7 years. Now, not every team uses it, and I don't know which teams use it, but I don't think every team uses it. They've been doing it for the last 7 years. So the ones that grade higher than an 80, it doesn't always equate to them having a great career. But the ones that don't, 100% haven't had a great career. So you hear all this talk about Houston could be a smokescreen, not like in C.J. Stroud anymore, right? Thinking maybe go a different route. Could be a total smokescreen, okay? If they believe in this testing, and if you did, now, I'm going to say with a caveat, you still got to have the guy in. You still got to put him on the board. You still got to talk to him. You still got to figure out. It's one test. I'm not going to be like, that's the end-all say-all. But if you as an organization valued this test pretty high and you saw that Stroud came in at an 18%, are you picking him number 2 overall? If you believe in that test, be tough. It'd be tough. Now, again, you got to. I like what the GM of Detroit said. He didn't give it away, but after his visit with Jalen Carter, you know what he said? I feel better about him. That's all he said. Didn't say we're going to take him. Who knows what they do? But after the interview, after sitting down with them, right? That's one thing we're never as fans allowed to be in. Whether it's a coach being interviewed, player being interviewed, you're not in on that one-on-one.
Wouldn't you love to be a fly on the wall for those?
Well,
though?
yeah, I'd love to be the guy that does it because you can tell a lot by someone looking you in the face. I mean, you can. You can tell a lot by someone. And you get them up on the board. You see how comfortable they are. You give them some tough stuff. You start them off easy, get them feeling good like you would in a game, and then you throw some tough stuff at them and then see if they can figure that out. You know what I mean? It's very important. I think those one-on-ones with the coach, GM, whatever, and that player or a coach that's trying to get on the staff or whatever it may be, those are where you really find out a lot about the person, right? You got to use your gut. And these guys are so good at it, or you hope they're good at it, that they'll be like, no, there's something about this guy. He's not going to fit. Look, 127 players out of how many get drafted? 253, something like that?
Yeah, I think
255,
so.
Whatever, 260? 127 are draftable in terms of the Jacksonville Jaguars based on the 127 that fit their culture. And Trent said it. Like, there's some players out there that are good, but they're not going to fit our culture, so they're not on our board. Whoever they may be, he never named names, nor should he. So you gotta factor that in. That's part of the whole process. I think there may not be super duper studs out there. There's a few. Will Anderson's a stud. I think he's going to be a very good pro. I think he's going to just be a really good pro.
Jalen Carter.
What's that? I think Jalen Carter's going to be a beast.
He's a beast.
A beast. I don't know about the tackle. I think Darnell Wright to me maybe he's a right tackle, so you can't say that, but he may be the one I take over all of them. Now, you get into round 2, Bergeron out of Syracuse, Harrison out of Oklahoma. There's a kid out of Pitt. You may not take in the second round, but maybe in the third. So, even though we don't take somebody in that number 24 pick, you don't know what's going to happen. I hope they move up from 56. Like, even if they could move up 10, 12 spots, you know what I mean? I think they'll have even because what do you want? You want a great 1-2 punch, right? You do. You want, like, when we had Trevor and Travis, right? Oh, how exciting. We hope Devin and Trayvon turn out to be that, right? You do. But you always, that first-round pick always backed up with the next pick. It just makes it feel
C.J.
so
Henderson and
better.
Kaylavon Chason.
Yeah, right. Total misses. I mean, just misses.
God.
Right? Terrible misses.
That's the worst draft in the history of the team, by the way.
It's up there. There's no doubt. I'll give, Kaylavon a little bit more time maybe, but clearly not what you thought he would be. A-Rob goes to the Steelers. Man, I tell you, I don't know. I mean, I don't get excited about A-Rob anymore. No disrespect to him. I hope he has a great, career with Pittsburgh. What does he bring you? Reliable hands, maybe?
At this point, not a lot.
Costing you $15 million, I think.
His best season.
They split up the. Was here
easily.
With Blake.
Easily.
Right.
And then he was all right in Chicago at the beginning.
Yeah, they didn't really have a QB then, right?
And then things kind of tapered off at the end. Went to L.A. last year, did nothing.
They barely used him.
Nothing.
33 catches, I think, or 30. Hey, man, good for him that he can still play and get that money,
I think A-Rob's problem has been, it's not fair to call somebody a bad teammate when you don't know them like that.
Yeah.
But during games, man, like potty language sucks and facial expression isn't good. He hasn't felt very bought in anywhere in a while.
I always felt like A-Rob was a number 2 trying to be a number 1. Like, to me, he's a great possession type receiver, even when he was younger. Because even when he was the X, it wasn't like he'd go deep and beat everybody. He'd have to jump. That's how he got those balls. He was great in the air. He's great with his hands and all that. But it wasn't like he was beating anybody down the field like a true number 1. Like, you're gonna see Calvin Ridley beat some guys, beat him deep and beat him bad, and be like, wow, he smoked that guy. You know what I mean? You never got that out of A-Rob. But a still dependable, quality wide receiver. I just think he's always been like, no, I'm a number 1. Granted, in his defense, 1,400 yards, 14 touchdowns down here in Jacksonville. You think if he doesn't hurt the ACL, who knows what happens, right? And I didn't blame the Jags for letting him go because coming off the ACL, you never know. You don't know how the player's going to respond. And I would say they made the right move not keeping him here.
There's been a lot. I knew that. I know this was like a thing in Chicago when he was in Chicago. There's a lot of like tape on him, like kind of half-ass blocking and stuff on run plays and stuff like that. Yeah. And listen, that makes your life harder when you're running routes.
No doubt.
If you block your ass off,
right.
First of all, that creates plays for your teammates, and that should be the most important
thing. Number 1.
But secondly,
they're not going to know the difference.
Man, if that DB is worried about you blocking your ass off every play, you're going to cook him at some point.
Well, if you come off the line the same way every time, they don't know what you're doing. So they may think you're going to block them. Next thing you know, you whiz past them and forget about it.
And I'm not going to pretend that I've sat here and watched the All-22 on every play of Allen Robinson's career. Yep. I've just kind of seen that, like going around before, that he kind of dogs it sometimes and takes some plays off.
You know what? Rick Spielman said that about Jalen Carter. He's lazy at times. I don't like lazy.
No.
Lazy does not get me excited.
In the league?
No. Now, can you get surrounded by guys that are going to make them pick it up, you can, if they're willing to do it. I don't know. It's got to be in that player, though, man. I don't like taking plays off. That's not good for me at all. But nonetheless, hey, man, we're right here, and I think it's going to be real exciting. Who's gonna move up first, and for whom? And does Stroud go number 2? They're gonna have to dig deep on that one. You know what I mean? Like, really make sure this kid's game is going to translate to the NFL. I don't like. I heard earlier. Ohio State doesn't produce quarterbacks. I don't believe in that crap because, first of all, we don't know about Justin Fields fully yet, and I think he had a better year. He's got to perform this year. There's no doubt about it. But you can't sit there and say, well, because they don't have good quarterbacks in the past, that transition to the NFL. That doesn't mean he can't. You know what I mean? I think he's got all the goods. Now, I don't know about this S2. That does throw up a flag for me. I'd be like, I need to investigate more, if I'm the Texans, obviously. But I think physically he's got all the tools. I'll tell you, tools. So one guy, I tell you, this Will Levis, this is one thing I heard about him today, or read about him today that I did not know, that to me is very impressive. His S2 was high, but whatever. The OC for the Rams last year, a guy named Liam Cohen.
Yeah, he worked with Levis.
He worked with Levis up in Kentucky. And what he said, I think it was he said, look, we weren't these, the RPO quick hitting stuff. We were pro style. So if you've ever been in a pro huddle and you hear the play call, it's like, long. It takes a little bit to get out, and you got to memorize all. It's not like 2 or 3 things, boom, 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 and then we'll go. It's X this, Y this, Z this, or blah, blah, blah. This is a protection, and he had multiple checks at the line of scrimmage. My point is that kid mentally, I don't know about physically, although he's got the arm. Mentally, along with Bryce, based on his S2, it sounds like he's brilliant. And and you saw it on, obviously, you watch Alabama, you saw that. That kid might be a really, really smart kid. And to me, that makes me feel good if that's the kind of offense I'm going to run. That pro-style offense, right? That he can come in and that terminology is not going to be like, whoa, what's that? What did he just say? Yeah, it happens, trust me. I mean, you're like, what was that? I didn't catch that. What is that? Coverage, coach? Can you reiterate that? You know what I mean? But he'll hear the language that should help him out.
Who's the Mike?
Right. Exactly. But I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. And AFC South, they all need QBs. Are they all gonna, all go quarterback? I hope they do. I hope every one of them goes quarterback, and then we get to smash those quarterbacks every time I face them. Wouldn't that be good?
That'd be fantastic.
That would be fantastic. All right, so I gotta go. I'm actually solo this weekend. My wife and daughters are going to their final dance competition, so good luck to Nancy Dance Studios and my daughter Harley and Kelsey as they will be dancing down there, Harley competing. So that'll be fun. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I may go to Whiskey Jack's and check out a really good band, Julia Gulia.
They are fantastic.
I've heard them.
They're very
Obviously not enough because I had their name wrong, and I apologize for that. But, yeah, I may just sneak in there and hide out in the corner.
They play
slide my hat over
They
my
play in your neck of the woods quite a bit.
Yeah.
Down in Atlantic Beach.
Yeah,
they play there all the time.
So I'm gonna go check that out, I think. I was thinking about the Iceman game. I'm sorry I'm not gonna make it downtown, but good luck to the Iceman as a playoff game tonight. Let me tell you something. If you want to go see some cool hockey, go to an Iceman game. We've been a few times. It's fun. Great
games are awesome.
They are awesome.
So fun.
No doubt about it. All right, that's going to do it for me. This time around, I want to thank my sponsors, Carpet Man, of course, Southern Grill, and the 1010XL Studios. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in, man. Appreciate it. I'll try to answer questions when we get off the air and post and whatnot. But we'll be back Tuesday. I'll tell you what, I'd be happy with Branch. I'd be happy with Torrance, and I'd be happy with Flowers or Quentin Johnson. No doubt about it. And quite honest, I'd be happy with whoever they pick, and hopefully they're right. Because at the end of the day, that's how you're measured by your draft picks, or partially how you're measured as a GM by your draft picks and how well they turn out. All right, until next time, stay safe and be cool out there, man. Have a great weekend. Be smart. Have fun. Take care of one another. See you next time. Peace.